All right, welcome to our training tonight. I'm calling this How to Have an Effective One-on-One Oil Convo conversation. So a little super quick background here. This is kind of my refresh of a tool that a lot of us have used for quite a few years. I mean, 4 years, at least 3. And it's been an amazing tool in my business. I love this. It's simple. It's not complicated. None of this is rocket science, but I'm telling you, if you can get this down, you will love this. I had one of these conversations today over Zoom. I'll talk about that a little bit. We used to call these sales conversations, and based on like things we've all learned, things we've all worked on, enrollment kit changes, all sorts of things. You're going to see some tweaks to maybe the ways that we've done this in the past, but I want you to hear more than anything that this is another example of like when I give you a class or a tool, I give you like the bones of it. And sometimes, no, not sometimes, you are the one who puts the meat on the bones. If you try to change the bones, it's not going to work well. You're going to not have great results, and you're going to think that I taught you weird things. Okay. Don't mess with the bones. But if you want to you have to put your own meat on it. Okay. I know that was like a really strange example, but that's just what came to my head at that very instant moment. So work with me. Okay. Meat and bones. Okay, so these can be done online or in person. I actually had an in-person one last week. So fun. She could smell the oils. I loved it. This afternoon, Zoom. And so it can be done either way. You are going over the same basic info that you know. It's just more of a conversation. I would say, yeah, very much that like it's like a chat over coffee. If you can get comfortable, you will use what you learn in this training and even some of like the different tools in not only like sharing oils. You will use this. Like I use these tools to have better conversations with my spouse and my children and people in my life. So I think there's some really valuable things. So what are some benefits of one-on-one convos? I think they're highly relational. That I think would speak to the core of a lot of people on this call. That's kind of how you feel, or that's kind of like your jam, who you are. It's definitely highly relational. I think it's very easy to customize. You're going to see that. You know, I talked about putting your own meat on the bones. I would say that it's less intimidating than a group format. I think teaching a class on Zoom is easier than teaching a class in person if you feel like a little nervous about standing up in front of a group. But I think this is even one step further of really just talking one-on-one with somebody. And it is a great class follow-up tool. You're going to see here that, what I want you to understand is maybe somebody comes to a class or can't come to a class, misses it for some reason, something came up, or came to a class and you need to like re-go over everything because it's a lot of info for a new person. This is like, you could totally do this after a class, probably if it's an evening class another day, to help support them in that. I think it's much easier to close. It's much easier to help somebody get a kit because you very intimately understand their needs and what they're trying to work on. And you can have a very natural back and forth conversation of what would be a good fit and what that looks like. Maybe some negatives. I would say it's going to be more of a slow and steady enrollment pace unless you are having 4 to 6 one-on-one oil conversations in a week. So, you might have a class a month, and maybe what if you have 8 to 10 people there, and you enroll 8 people, right? This is if you're like spacing these out more. Do you see what I mean? You're hitting people at a different pace. There was one more thing I wanted to say, like, how do I decide between a class and a sales conversation, a one-on-one conversation, group versus one-on-one? It depends. If it's somebody highly influential, one-on-one, always. It's one-on-one is truly my preference. Although, I think a class has really fun energy. They have very different, energies, I guess. So don't hesitate to use them both, for different reasons. And you kind of start to get a feel for what's going to be best for each person, but there is not a wrong answer. This slide is old, but I kept it in here because I think this bears repeating because it's a very important concept for just being a good oil girl. Okay. So on the screen, it says why selling on the fly doesn't work. Let me just give you an example. Where are we going to be today? What's like a realistic example of things we get to do? Well, in the Northwoods, we still might be at an outdoor sporting event. So let's pretend we're in an outdoor sporting event, and you're like there, maybe with some moms. You're watching your kid participate in a sport, and one of the moms is like asks you an oil question right on the spot. Well, like, you know about lavender, or like it comes up, okay, and all eyes turn and look at you, right? This is what happens. They all turn and look at you, and they're going to watch what you're going to say. How are you going to respond to this? And rather than word vomiting a class on the spot, while somebody is genuinely trying to watch their child participate in a sporting event, what I try to teach people to do is to contain oil conversations to either like a one-on-one appointment or a class, to contain it. Because if you are the person that's just talking about it and rambling about it and trying to sell it on the fly, well, here's lavender, and oh, and here in my purse, here's On Guard, and put this in tune on, and after the game, make sure you give Billy his deep blue, right? And you go and you go and you go. That is not appealing. That is not helpful. And it's easier to do than you think. You don't want to do that though. So I like to teach people how to set that time. We'll talk about the words that you would use, the outline that you would use to transition that conversation, so that oils stay in an oil space, and you as a mom or whoever you are can stay in that space, and you can honor both. I think that's really important. One of the examples we used to talk about is like, if you asked a counselor a question on the sideline, would they like sit down and pull out their notepad and be like, yes, tell me more and more about this. And what was like your childhood like, right? They would not. They would set an appointment. We are professionals as well. We work hard to do what we do well, so we don't sell on the fly. Sampling. I also kept this in here. Do you know that there were years that we did away with sampling on this team? Do you know my year of greatest growth in my business from silver to diamond was by using this tool I'm about to teach you through one-on-one oil conversations. I picked up the phone, I set them, I did them, and I never sent a sample in the mail. Never did. So we're going to address this here. I am sampling again. I'll let you in on that. But I just want to take the pressure off. I get a lot of questions about like the cost of sampling, the time of sampling, what that looks like. If you have not taken the time to sample effectively and well, which maybe is for another training I know my mom talked about on a leader call, it is going to be mostly 80% a waste of your time and money if you're not following up well, if you're not doing that well, okay? If you're doing it well, beautiful tool, okay? I just like to throw out there, if you're like, I'm super stressed, I'm strapped for resources, I did my conversations and I enrolled people without them ever having smelled an oil, okay? Over Zoom, no oils in front of them, simply connecting with them and talking. So it is a possibility, and I don't want you to discount all the different ways to do it. I don't want you to go pack up your sampling supplies and throw them in the garbage. Don't do that. I just want you to consider the possibility of what true connection and relationship can look like in this format, and that you can even show up without the aroma of your oils in front of you and still get somebody to make a buying decision. Okay, just consider that. I talked about this. Okay. Appointments versus classes. So you'll just get a feel for which one is best and what that looks like, but they can be used right alongside each other. And you'll see very similar components. So what are the components of a one-on-one conversation that you're going to have? Well, we do absolutely have to talk about how you're going to set one of these conversations. I call them an appointment. How are you going to set that? How are you going to set that coffee date, that coffee chat, that tea time, whatever you want to call it? And then we'll talk about, once you're in there, having that coffee time with them, you're going to give them an agenda. You're going to gather some input, learn about their goals, company story. This is where you get to talk about doTERRA a little bit. You're going to explain and personalize products based on what they've shared that they're working on. You're going to close. You're going to give them 2 options, just 2. If they are ordering, you're setting up a follow-up appointment, and we're going to talk about asking for referrals too. All right. So in the past, what I actually did is I demonstrated a sales conversation. We have a really funny recording of me doing one and my dad coming in the middle of it and dropping off a Starbucks iced tea. It was really cute. But for the sake of time, that wasn't, if you want to see one of those recordings, I will give it to you. It will be a little outdated, but you will get to see this in action. But I think I want to approach this a little bit differently tonight. I'm going to ask people as we're going if they're willing to be my potential customer for me. So if we're going to start with teaching you how to do this, I like to give you outlines. We used to call these scripts, and now we call them outlines because outlines leaves more freedom in the way that word sounds for you to make it your own and tweak it. Okay, so the following slides are full of outlines and examples of what you can say, how you can say it. You can take screenshots. I have it in other places. We can work on that. But I just want you to see it broken down. It's not really this choppy when you're doing it, but you have to see the different components. And the goal is that you would use these outlines to write your own outline. I still have a phone call outline, a setting an appointment outline, a sales conversation or an oil conversation outline, asking for referrals outline. I still have all of these. I can pull them up. I can refer to them on my computer. The key is you don't want to lose the essence of you. You want it to sound like you. Okay. And for some of you, for early on appointments, you might be basically reading from the outline, and that's fine. We'll talk about maybe how to address that. Maybe I'll say that right now. If you're getting started, I literally sometimes had this printed off if I was in person and was like, I know I have notes here, but I want to refer to it. So I make sure I don't miss anything while we're talking, right? So you can use it. It's okay to be transparent like that and be like, I have my notes with me. That's okay. Especially because you probably are talking to friends and family. So before we talk about how to have one of these one-on-one conversations, we really have to talk about how to set them up. I am not going to belabor the point with phone calls. How you decide to set these appointments is ultimately up to you. I will challenge you that phone calls will set you apart and will make you look, no, that's not the phrase I would use. They set you apart. Like you're the real deal. You're showing up. You're like, just going for it. They make a big difference. That year of growth was a year on the phone. So can an appointment be set over text, over Facebook Messenger, over an Instagram DM? Yes, it can, especially using the voice message feature. I think it's really important for them to hear your voice. Okay. So there are two different ways that you're going to be setting an appointment. The first way that we're looking at is like an intentional setting it up, like you are reaching out to somebody and asking to set up an appointment. So I'm going to put this all out on the screen, and who am I making a phone call to tonight? I can pick somebody, or somebody can raise their hand. Laura Whipperman, definitely. I can't see everyone's hands, so it's okay. We're going to have Laura Whipperman do it. I'm calling her out. Okay, hold on. There she is, unmuted. Okay, Laura Whip, you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Hey, Laura Whip, I know this is out of the blue. Am I catching you at a bad time?
No, this is actually a really good time.
Awesome. I wanted to get your thoughts on something. I'm starting to set up appointments with people to teach them about essential oils. And as part of my learning process, I'm trying to set up appointments with people I know so I can get comfortable. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to. It takes about 30 minutes. I'm just going to go over what things you would want to know about some of the most popular products. Would you be willing to help me out with that?
Oh, I would totally help you out with that.
Okay, awesome. We could do it over technology or in person. Which is better for you?
I like in person.
Okay, great. I've got 2 appointments left this week. I could do Tuesday or Thursday. Which works better?
Thursday works a lot better for me.
Okay, awesome. Let's meet at Roasters and we'll have a date. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, we get to have coffee together? That's even better.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Laura Whip. Okay, so I wanted you guys to hear, thank you, Laura Whip. That's really what it looks like. It's not complicated. It's very simple. Even if you're not brand new, I still think you could say, hey, I'm trying something new. I'm setting up appointments to talk with people about oils. I'm practicing. Would you help me practice? Who is going to say no to that, and helping you? And if they do, it's okay if they say no. It's okay. You just catch up on the phone and you hang out and you learn about them. So that's what that would look like. Oh yeah, see there at the end. So how the heck are you, right? Hearing about them a little bit. If you've been building for a while, if you're not like new to this routine, it's pretty similar the way that I go about it. See, I said here, you know, would you help me practice? I'm learning a new way to support people with oils. I've also reached out and said, when I learned this tool, had already reached out to most of my people, but I remember reaching out and saying, I'm calling for 2 reasons. 1, to talk about essential oils, and 2nd, because I really want to catch up. It looks like your life is like amazing on Facebook and I want to hear all about it. And then I would talk about, you know, I've been helping moms use essential oils for their littles. And I thought of you because I know you're in that season. You know, it takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, go through that. But you see, you can kind of customize, you can kind of insert who you are and what's going on in your life into that. All right. Anything else I want to say about this? The last thing I want to make sure that you understand, if we look at the sequence of how you're having this conversation, that you're identifying the awkward, right? Oh, I know this is out of the blue, right? Just identify the awkward. I'm calling you out of the blue, okay? And you tell them right away what you're calling to talk to them about. I am calling to talk to you about essential oils. You do not wait in the conversation. That looks manipulative, even though you were just nervous, and that's why you did it. So be upfront, my friends. I think it's important to remove the pressure of you don't have to buy anything. This is how long it would take. This is what we would talk about, right? I'm not even necessarily a person who I would say who has like social anxiety, but when I say yes to something, I want to know what I'm saying yes to. How long will I be there? What will we be talking about? What's going to be? I want to know those things. So you want to be able to talk through those things. And then you'll notice a lot of this is like 2 options, technology or in person. You want Thursday or Friday, right? Giving those options, and instead of just saying, send me over a time that's good for you in the next 5 weeks. Okay. Be specific. This outline right here is what's going to help you if you are transitioning an already existing conversation. You are on the sidelines of the sporting event to setting an appointment, right? That mom has asked you about lavender, and now you're going to practice what it looks like to set an appointment so you can maintain that friendship, relational boundary with her. We all know this, right? Usually what I do is set up a time to meet. We will go over your health goals and anything you want to know about essential oils, Doterra, and the most popular oils. My part takes about 30 minutes. You don't have to buy anything, but if you see something you like, of course, I'll help you order it. Is that something you'd be open to? Okay. I have used this at playgroup. I have used this at sporting events. I've used this in many different areas, but it's that same concept of when somebody asks you about oils and you think, what am I going to say? And you say, oh, usually what I do is set a time to meet. We'll talk. Okay. I do not underestimate the power of the usually what I do. Okay. We will do questions at the end, but I want to see if I'm missing any questions on this part before we go to the actual conversation, your oil date. Yeah, some of you are on here. This is what Kara, this is how I met Kara, through a referral from a sales conversation from somebody who didn't buy. So some of you know this. It's the inner workings.
It's the same thing. I met Pam through a referral and used all these conversations with her.
Okay, perfect. I'll keep an eye for questions and we'll come back to it. Okay, so now you're having your conversation with them. So whether you're in person or on Zoom, like have normal conversation. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes of it, but the woman I met with today, like I had never met her. She was a referral. So how do you know Val? Like you live in Minnesota. Tell me, like, do you have a little talk with them a little bit? Does not have to go on and on because you're going to be respectful of their time, but talk with them a little bit. Okay. And then the next step after you break the ice is to go through the agenda. This is simple. I don't know that I really have to role play this with anybody, but the bottom line is it could sound something just like this. Hey, I've really been looking forward to this. First, we're going to chat a bit about your health goals, what you want to know about oils, so I don't overwhelm you with information. Then we'll go over doTERRA, some of the most popular oils. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to, but if you see something you like, you can order it today. So what things do you want to make sure we go over today? Simple, to the point, you are reminding them, They have forgotten everything you said when you set the appointment. They forgot that you said it's only 30 minutes. They forgot that you said you don't have to buy anything. They forgot what you said you were going to go over. They don't remember. They just know that they are sitting across from you and or on Zoom, and they're feeling a little unsure. So it's time to say these things so their shoulders can come down and they can realize that you're their friend and you're here to help them, because that's true. Okay. So you're going to see, right? You tell them what you're going to talk about. You tell them that they don't have to buy anything. And then you start asking questions. There are a lot of questions in this. You are going to be listening to what they have to say, right? Some people might come and say, I want to make sure you go over oils that aren't going to kill my dog, right? You're going to want to know that. So as you're going along, you can talk to them about that and care for them that way. Okay, so once they do that, you've given them the agenda, you know, maybe some things that they're wanting to make sure that you cover. And you need to learn about their health goals. This is so critical. Do not skip this. Do not modify this. Do not mess with this. If you don't know what they want to work on, you will just be a talking head and it won't be fun for anyone. Okay, so here's an example. Before we get started, catch me up. What are some of your overall health goals? What else? And then what else? And what else? What about your husband? What about your children? What else? What else? Tell me more. Okay. If they say they have headaches, say, tell me, when do you get them? How do you notice them coming up? Is it here? Is it here? Is it from stress? Is it from hormones? Ask them questions, engage with them about their health goal. Okay. I want you to do that for a while. I take notes. Okay. I write things down. I make notes like, yes, this is what they want to talk about. This is what they want to talk about. All of those things. Okay. And then the last line there is transitioning you to the next part. Okay. You're going to ask them, what do you already know about Doterra? This also is going to be a very helpful baseline for you, because they might say nothing. They might say, my sister-in-law tells me everything. She's actually given me 10 free oils over the years, right? You're going to want to pay attention to that. Okay. You're going to want to know where they're at and what they're coming from. Okay. So what do you already know about Doterra? They might say nothing. And this is where you get a chance to share a little bit about Doterra. We call this the company story. I've seen this done many different ways, but here is an example. So Doterra is the largest essential oil company, and we help families use natural solutions for their everyday lives. People turn to us when their current approach to health is not achieving the results it was supposed to. They are tired of using chemicals for literally everything. And they're honestly confused by all the natural options out there and a little overwhelmed when researching it. They just want something simple that works. Doterra offers a full line of essential oil kits to help you and your family, whatever your health goals are. Doterra has raised the bar in the essential oils industry. They are the most tested and trusted oils on the market, and this can be seen in their partnerships with over 120 research facilities and universities like Johns Hopkins. There are no fillers, no artificial ingredients, no pesticides, and no dilution. The plants are grown in their ideal environments all around the world, and every batch of oils goes through 6 levels of testing to ensure purity and potency. When you see a Doterra label, you can be assured you are getting the highest quality oil and therefore benefits on the market. And Doterra has amazing customer service. If you don't like it and return it within 30 days, you will get 100% product credit to try something else, or 90% return back to your card. Okay, does anyone having some flashbacks there when I did that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you kind of look, let me see, I'm having a hard time going forwards and backwards. I must have done something funny on my PowerPoint. There we go. You can notice some of the ways that you're able to relate to them, right? Like, this is what Doterra does. This is how we help people. Like, what are the pain points? Like, their current approach to health isn't working. They want to be able to use something natural when their grandchildren come over to visit. They're tired of fighting with their daughter-in-law who wants to use essential oils and they don't have any, whatever. And then being able to walk them through that. Today, when I did, my sales conversation, my company story did not sound like this. It was a mom with little ones. I talked about, you're supposed to talk more about you than them. But I did say, I talked about the purity piece. I talked about the potency piece. I talked about the transparency of being able to go on and look for the testing, sourcing. So you could even just like pick a couple components. You just want to be able to convey like why Doterra in this portion. I'm trying to make sure I'm paying attention to the chat box. Is there anything I'm missing, or should I keep going, Mom? Keep going. Thank you. So helpful. Okay, you've told them about that. Now you need to make sure they have enough information about oils to be dangerous, right? What oils are and how to use them. You do not have to hang out here long at all. And it's just a really important foundational info. Okay. So I talk about quickly, they're from plants. They're super concentrated, 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs, all that stuff. Now, really quickly, I did send samples ahead of time to this mom today. I sent her the peppermint and the wild orange. And so we did the peppermint together. We experienced it, roof of mouth. We did that, and we experienced wild orange together. So I just want to say that. So this is where I had her do some peppermint and the wild orange. But basically you can teach them how to do it aromatically. This is not like an intense course. You don't have to, if this person, when this person gets oils from you, you will add the important pieces on, like the extra pieces in a follow-up appointment, in the things that we do. You just need to give them a baseline. All right. You will teach them how to use it topically and how to dilute, and then internally. But I think that's really critical not to miss this, and also to keep it pretty succinct. We can all do that, okay? And then what you get a chance to do is talk through the top 10 oils. Okay, so when we started doing this, the oil kits were very simple. The ones that we showed them both had the top 10 oils. It was very straightforward. Lavender, lemon, peppermint, frankincense, oregano, tea tree, or melaleuca, digestin, on guard, breathe, deep blue. 10 of them, boom, talk through them. It was so great. I still stick to those top 10 oils. And I'm going to show you a little bit why I don't talk about copaiba. I don't talk about adaptive. I don't even talk about balance. I stick to the top 10 is where I'm at right now. If you would like to make tweaks to that, you're welcome to. Remember, the more oils you add, the longer you talk, and the harder it is to keep that like back and forth going. So keep it in mind. Okay. So you could say something like, I say, we're going to talk about the most popular and versatile products. This one says the Home Essentials Kit. It's not the Home Essentials Kit anymore. So you can disregard that. So key here, you need to be able to tie it back to what they told you. Earlier, you mentioned that you struggle with headaches. Earlier, you mentioned that your husband has toenail fungus. And you need your go-to examples. We have a sheet of universal uses for the top 10 oils. Like if you are a human and you have a body, this is what you would use lavender for, really, no matter what your season of life is. Okay. And so you need to know those universal uses, because you could have somebody that sits across from you and says, I don't have a single health goal. Actually, I'll let you in on a secret. 80% of the people that I meet with don't have a single health goal. And by the time I start talking about the first oil, they're going, oh yeah, I do have headaches. Okay. They will. So just hang with them on that, but you're going to want to make sure you have ideas of what those top 10 oils are good for. So an example, peppermint. Earlier, you mentioned that you get head tension. This is what you're going to use for that. Just massage it into your temples and on the back of your neck. Also, you know how when your alarm goes off and all you want to do is hit the snooze button, put a drop in your hands, breathe it in to help you wake up, open your airways, and give you a boost of energy. Amazing, right? Lavender. Earlier, you mentioned that you and your family don't sleep well. Just put some of this lavender in your diffuser on your pillowcases and you'll all sleep like babies. And when summer comes and you get those pesky bug bites, just put this lavender right on to help soothe them. Okay, so I stick to 2 uses. I try not to go past 2 uses for each oil. And I try to talk about see how the language is, you are going to use this when, and this is how you're going to use it. Very, very specific. I could go through the top 10 and talk about how I use them, right? I use this on this. No, you want to help them be in that space of how they would use them. Okay. So you're going to do that for the top 10 oils. Are you guys ready to know how to close? Who's still with me? What time are we on a BOGO night? 8:32. I didn't promise you an end time. I did not. Okay, we're going to talk about how to close. I have some thoughts for you on this. Let's look at the outline first. Actually, Marissa, do I need you here to help me with this? Yeah, why don't you, let's go for broke, okay?
What do you need?
You be my customer.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you two of the most popular kits. Oh, I actually want to, no, let's do this. Hey, what were your health goals that you shared with me? No, I'm going to make it up. Okay, cool. Watch, I'm going to share my screen because this is what I did today. This is where we are. I know. It's okay to fly by the seat of your pants a little bit. Okay, can you guys see the kits on my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you two of the most popular kits. The first right here, this is the Healthy Start Kit. It comes with the 10 oils we talked about, smaller bottles. You get about 88 drops of each oil and a diffuser. This one is 160. Over here on the right, we have the Healthy Essentials. This has 7 of the oils that we talked about. You are going to swap out the oregano, the tea tree, and the frankincense for a adaptive, balance, and copaiba. Let me just quickly tell you what those oils are good for. Balance is so what you wear to help keep yourself grounded so you don't kill and eat the people you love. Copaiba is an amazing, powerful, and even more effective alternative to any kind of CBD product. It's so great. And then adaptive is off the charts blend for emotional and mental wellness. This one also has a diffuser, and this one is $249. If you were to pick one of these kits, is there one that you would prefer?
Yeah, I think the one with the balance.
The one with the balance. Yeah, that's so funny. That's what the mom said today. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about my first appointment special. Since this is our first time talking about oils, I have a little gift for you. If you're ready to go ahead and get a kit today, I'd love to offer you either a blend for sleep or a blend for immune support. Which would you prefer, better sleep or immune boosting?
Better sleep, please.
Okay, awesome. So would you like to go ahead and get this Healthy Essentials enrollment kit and get your sleep kit, your sleep roller?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. I'm excited to get that freebie.
Okay, awesome. All right, boom. I used to have a handout made. I'll show it to you guys. And I don't have that made with the new kits on it. So I actually have to put my screen like that. I was for my in-person one. This is what I did. I was like, let me show you the 2 most popular kits. And I opened up my computer like this. I was like, I didn't have a chance to print it or a color printer. So, you just make the most of it. Okay, we'll go back to the PowerPoint. Thanks, Marissa. Shoot. Okay, share my screen. I should have just kept screen sharing the whole time. Okay, so that's not hard. That's not scary. I actually want to talk to you, not now, I don't think, in a minute about different kit pairings that you could put together. So at the end here, I wrote this line, smile and close your mouth, right? And wait for what they have to say, and then write up your order or troubleshoot. So what does troubleshoot mean? Let's talk about what if like my mom were to be like, no, like I have to talk to my husband about it. So we talk through some things, and this might be something that if this is a tool you're going to use and you're going to practice it with your leader, you'll talk through like, what do you say when somebody says, I need to talk to my husband? I say, and the same way, we have like the same rule in our marriage. I just want to ask you, do you really want to talk to your husband about it? Or are you just saying that because like, you don't want to hurt my feelings? Because you can tell me if you don't really want oils, right? I asked them that. They might say, oh, I can't afford the Home Essentials kit. Well, can't afford it? No problem at all. The Healthy Start Kit is a really awesome kit, and it's 160, and you can still get your sleep roller too. Is that a better fit for you? Okay, you could talk about the Simple Solutions kit, and you could also talk about the lemon, lavender, peppermint, that intro kit. Back in the day, we used to bring them with, and they could literally grab them for retail on the spot. But you have different ways to talk them through what might be helpful. Okay. Can I share one last favorite tip? When somebody says a kit is too much, I always love to ask them, what oils like did you have your eye on? What stood out to you the most? So they might say, oh, frankincense, breathe, and lavender. And I just say, oh, great, love those ones. So if you were to get those oils on their own, it would be roughly, I don't know, $130. So you could get those 3 oils for about $130, or you could get 10 in the diffuser for $160, right? And they start to understand like, oh, the value of one of those kits. It's always okay to have somebody walk away, right? Like, okay, no problem. If you don't want to get anything, let me know if anything changes. I also, if somebody walks away, and isn't ready to purchase, I still plug them into different avenues of support. Would you like me to let you know about classes we have coming up? Would you like me to share with you different giveaways or promos that are coming up, right? And they're going to say yes, and that keeps that contact going and gives you that with them, which I think is really helpful. If they order, you need to make sure you set up the follow-up appointment. Okay, now that your first order is on its way, this is not complicated, but you set it. Okay, set that time. Ask for referrals. I bet we spent hours talking about this back in the day, like hours. Okay, so let's just give you a sample of what you could say. There are a lot of alternatives to this. One more thing before you go. I really only meet with people I know or that have been personally recommended to me, because I really don't like to, I used to say, because I really don't like to stalk people at the grocery store. So one way you could really help me out is by putting me in contact with people like you who are nice and care about their health. They don't have to be people who for sure would buy oils, just anyone who is nice and might have 30 minutes to talk to me. The really cool thing is that for every 3 contacts you give me as a thank you for trusting me not to be weird with them, I'm going to make you a custom roller blend for free. Earlier you mentioned headaches and PMS. So would you prefer a blend for one of those, which, for headaches or PMS? Okay, great. Here's my pen and notebook. Go ahead and jot down 3 people that fit that description, and I'm going to start working on your rollers. Okay. This can be done well and authentically, even if it makes you sweaty. And it's really fun to be able to meet other people's people, and get to know them. Okay, so in review, you need to know how to set the conversation, set that appointment. And then once you're in that appointment, having that coffee with them or connecting with them on Zoom, you need to go over the agenda, gathering input, learning about their goals. Why Doterra? Share that company story. Go through the top 10 oils, personalizing it to what they have going on. You're going to close with 2 kit options. Follow-up appointment. You're going to make sure you set that if they bought oils, and no matter if they bought or not, you're going to ask for referrals, because people who don't buy are actually more likely to give you a referral because they've seen your true colors by how you are treating them, even though they are choosing not to purchase in the moment. Okay. What supplies do you need for these? Well, I'll show you my handout really quick, but a blank piece of paper works too. Oils, you could have them or you might not. You might want to send some ahead of time if you're on Zoom. That's up to you. You're going to want your outline and listening ears. This is my old handout. I still have some printed out, but what I did is I could modify this if people were really wanting to use it, but here we go. Look at this.
I just came across a pile of these today.
I know.
Literally just today.
So see, top 10 oils, so they can write talking points. You get to talk about, what are oils, why Doterra, how to use them, right? So they can take notes. And then when you would flip it over, I would have the top 2 kits. Okay, see, look, family essentials and home essentials. I love it. So really that's like all I used back in the day. Can I make one quick pointer that we just discovered today, Laura Shields and my mom and I, about which 2 kits to offer? So did you catch how when I had to explain the kits, it was harder this time because because the top 10 oils are not in both kits. And so it was a little complicated trying to figure out the verbiage on that, right? You lose these 3 oils, you gain these 3 oils, here's what you do with them. So what I think I'm going to do from here on out is the Healthy Start. I love that 160 price point. I love the top 10 oils, 5 milliliter size bottles. And then look at this, the Healthy Home, because this right here, like you are getting that upgrade to the 15 ml bottles of the 10 oils. You're getting your diffuser and products for around the home. So I think I'm going to offer the Healthy Start or the Healthy Home because I think that they're an easier side by side. And I think the oils being the same is really helpful. You can pick your own 2 kits. I just wanted to share that. Okay. Where's my PowerPoint? Okay. You guys can see that again. So, let's do, so as if this is a tool you want to move forward with, you're going to want to set up a time with your leader to practice this. Okay. You'll get your own copy of the outline. You can customize it. We talked about that. I would tell you to set up 5 practice oil conversations, sales conversations. Okay. Set up 5 of them, make 5 phone calls. You might need to make 10 phone calls to set 5 of those. And then use this tool as you're caring for people, no matter where you are on your oil journey. Okay. All right. Let's do Q&A for a minute. It was a lot of talking from me. Let me stop sharing.
Maybe there's some really good questions in the chat box that I mean, we did answer, but I feel like we'd love to hear your input too.
Okay, do you want me to scroll through, or can somebody can you help me?
I can just kind of, so, of course, everyone wants this information. So are you like, do you even have the bandwidth and the time during the BOGO week to redo some of these, or do you want to wait until afterwards? Are you willing to do that?
What I can do for you is I can share this PowerPoint in view only, and you can make a copy and edit it or screenshot the slides to get the different components. I don't have the capacity to flip it into that original Google Doc that I had and switch that over. But I can share the PowerPoint definitely.
Okay, and that awesome handout with the 2 kits on it.
I cannot redo that currently. I actually am trying to find nice images of the kits. And I feel like I have to think through a little bit more. I think I would do it with the healthy start and the healthy home is how I would have it, with the top 10 oils and that across. So I might be able to figure that out, but that wouldn't be this week. In the meantime, what did I send? I send the EOME handout to this person today, and I know she took notes on her phone. So I might be able to work on that at a later date.
So Susan was asking, could you do 3 kits? Why do you choose 2? Like, how do you feel about adding a 3rd? I know what I feel, but I want to know what you think.
I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think closing is like, it's a skill. It's a skill to like take a deep breath and do that well and calmly and naturally. And I think sometimes 3 just like complicates it. It can feel like a lot. And you would be so surprised how many people can get to the end of a very simple conversation like that and not be able to make a decision at even 2 kits because they feel overwhelmed. And so I really recommend 2, because at the end of the day, if I'm being totally honest, I think it's okay to say this. I don't really care what kit somebody starts with, because I know their trajectory of support and care and incorporating will be great. So I try not to agonize. I try not, personally, in the past, I have agonized so much over kits. Like, it's been a thing for me. And now I'm just like, here are 2. So I don't know if that helps.
For the 10 top, or the uses for the 10 top oils, we did a brainstorm and you used to have a doc on that. And when we were doing this regularly, we encouraged people to only say, like, you would use lemon and you would give 2 things for them to use, not a huge long thing. But when you have a doc of suggestions, you can kind of pick a couple. Do you still have that doc?
Yep, I have the doc, and you can pick what you wanted or what felt familiar to you. Yeah.
Where would you put that?
I'll put it in the team app.
Okay.
How about when this is done in the team app, I'll put like the link to the PowerPoint and the link to some of those other things, and do that.
That's great. Go ahead.
Nope, you go.
Someone asked, it seems like this is, like, when we look at it now, pretty similar to EOME. So like before we actually had EOME. So would you still invite them to an EOME after this? What's your thought on that?
Depends. Do they need to hear it again? Do they need to hear it? I think it really depends. Personally, my people, if they get this conversation, it's pretty much, that's it. Nobody would be surprised to hear that Amy would want to entirely control this process from beginning to end and not leave it up to a group of people or anything like that. I like being like in it with them, but they could do that. If you look at EOME and this side by side, like EOME, we spend a lot more time in the 3 ways to use oils. I was trying to think of one of the other things that was sticking out. We don't really talk about 3 cool things, like things like why Doterra is kind of tucked into 3 cool things and this, right? So it's a lot of the same components. They might hear it differently because it's in a different order and different. So I think it depends on the person.
Susan brought up something interesting. She's not here anymore. I don't know why she got bounced, but sometimes somebody is like, they've had a bad experience with MLMs, and they're just like, oh, I had this one thing happen, and we have found, and we were taught this way, that it's okay to ask them to share about it and tell them about it, tell about it, because when they do, it kind of diffuses the situation,
Mhm.
and you can commiserate with them and be like, oh man, that is just the worst. I am really sorry that happened to you. And we do it differently. I do it differently. You don't have to buy or whatever. But I just wanted to point that out in case you didn't see that in the chat box.
Barb said, if people go with the lavender peppermint, do they need a membership? So there are times when I just sell that for retail. It's like 30, it's like basically 30. I think it's like 26.67. In this day and age, I would generate a link and they would buy it at retail. I will tell you that there used to be this thing we called a mini kit, a mini starter kit, where you paid the $35 and you got that kit for 20 at the wholesale price. So we called it the $55 enrollment kit, right? But when you actually order that, you're ordering the enrollment kit and that kit at 20. So there are a couple different ways to do that. Not as many of us are meeting in person anymore to be able to hand over an intro kit, kind of a thing. So there's some flexibility on that.
Anybody else have something they want to talk about or ask?
Somebody talked about the kit. We talked about the kit that's coming out in April that I just can never remember the name of. But the reality is I looked at the oils in there. I personally wouldn't major on that in the basic concept of an oil conversation. And here's why, because I'm not going to look at somebody and be like, you're going to use citrus bloom for your husband's toenail fungus, right? No, you're going to diffuse that to make your house smell pretty. So if you have somebody coming into, in my mind, that kit is for somebody, the person who's like, I've read a lot of mommy blogs and I think I'm just going to diffuse, because if I use it on my skin, I know it's going to burn holes in my face. And you're like, this is going to be a very easy inroad. So I think that's very funny, but it's kind of true. You get people who are really nervous, and that's like a good starting point. I'm not sure about how universal those oils are.
That's a good point. And Susan's comment about, selling a $350 kit, I totally agree, but I also would encourage you guys to not make the decision ahead of time on how much somebody can afford. And the example that I was given a long time ago was when you're sitting in a restaurant and you hear the host go over to a table and explain all the specials, and you're like kind of listening. And then they come to your table and they start to tell you the specials, and they look at you and they go, oh, well, you can't afford it, so I'm not going to tell you. And you're like, what? Like, who cares? I want to hear the specials. I want to make my own decision. So it's really important that we don't prejudge what somebody can afford. And so I always get really sweaty about having a more expensive kit in there. I always do. And I'm always surprised at how many people get the more expensive kit in spite of what I'm feeling or thinking.
Mm-hmm. And if they say 350 and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to do the 160, I still think that healthy start kit is so good. So good. Okay. I think we caught almost all of them. So I will put things in the team app, links to that. But yeah, really the beauty of this, once you kind of get the tools and the talking points, is you have to take the time to practice this, with your leader, set up some conversations, find your mom and your sister who are willing to practice this for you, or your friends, and to go through that process. And it's as I'm reading through those outlines, it's second nature. I could do it, Laura Whipperman, and the people, I could do it in my sleep. And it's been years. Okay. I think this was really good. I'll put the recording link up too. Just let me know if something else comes up that I'm missing. Does that sound good?
Thank you so much. This was really helpful to hear it again. And it just it evokes very strong memories. But I can't believe, but it's really good. And Pam, guys, if you want to practice, reach out to us.
Good night, everybody.